Hey guys, I just bought Katamari Damacy reroll for the Nintendo Switch off eBay for $100. It's super rare. It's going to be super GameStop is selling it again for $29.99. Retro video game collecting is pretty popular. Collecting games that I never got to play as a kid or simply didn't have the funds to buy as a kid is pretty fun. Some games that I want are pretty common and some are rare and expensive. Sometimes I just wish that I had the foresight to pick them up when they first went on sale. I mean, how awesome would it have been to get Little Samson for $60? It makes sense that with the knowledge of past video games becoming rare and desirable, that you would want to get ahead of the curve and buy the game new on the chance that it becomes incredibly rare and expensive later on. But that carries two types of risks. The first risk is that the game will be on sale in 2 to 3 weeks. With the exception of Nintendo first-party titles, it's not uncommon to see a new game that retailed for $60 go for $30 a couple of weeks after its release. If the game was really popular, the next year it might be $20. If the game is a release that bombs, it could be even less as retailers look to unload their remaining stock. Games like Fallout 76, Mass Effect Andromeda, and the PlayStation Classic are all prime examples of a quick closeout. The other risk is that these games can still be reprinted. Developers see the spike in demand and make new copies. Devil's Third is probably the most notorious. When it was released, it was rumored that there were only 400 copies for sale in the US because of the poor reception of that game. With a new Nintendo console on the horizon, people were certain that Devil's Third would be super valuable due to its low print run. It only took 4 days for Devil's Third to go from $60 to over $120 on eBay. Everybody was talking about this terrible game being so desirable. Then, the next week, Nintendo released at least 3,000 more copies, and the secondary market value plummeted. Even 3 years later, you can find a copy for about $50. The most recent hot item is Katamari Damacy reroll for the Nintendo Switch. Now, this game was released as a physical GameStop exclusive and in pretty limited quantities. My wife got it for me for Christmas, and I didn't even know that it was hard to find until I saw on Twitter that it was going for $100 plus. All through the month of January, it was a mad dash to secure a copy of this game. Some people were getting it shipped from family members from the other side of the country. But of course, since GameStop can manage distribution of the game, there are now plenty of copies of Katamari Damacy reroll for the Nintendo Switch available online. So if you're interested in picking up a physical copy, you now have your chance. Even if the title never sees a reprint, their prices are still incredibly volatile during the current generation, and if you buy at the wrong time, you'll end up regretting your purchase. Job Simulator for the PlayStation 4 is a popular example. The game had low print runs initially because it's a VR title and it's probably not going to see a reprint anytime soon, but this past December it peaked at $100 and now it's dropping. The Fortnite physical copy is also sought after. Now, I'm not talking about the new one that just came out, but the copy of Fortnite before the game was free to play. During the height of Fortnite's popularity in May, that game fetched almost $93 complete, and now the game is a third of its value and probably won't recover. The Wii U had a lot of titles that got volatile as well. Pikmin 3 was really sought after, Bayonetta 2, and even for the Nintendo 3DS, Star Fox 3D and Ocarina of Time 3D all had limited print runs and were super hard to come by, even if you could get them digitally. I got Pikmin 3 for free with the purchase of Mario Kart 8. Pikmin 3 got a Nintendo Selects re-release and dropped down to $20. Bayonetta 2 also got a re-release but without Bayonetta 1 included, and right now all of those games that I just mentioned can be had for less than $20, even less if you try to buy locally. The biggest gamble right now is Nintendo Switch collecting. There are so many Switch games coming out that it's a real challenge to judge which titles are going to be hard to find and which are going to end up in the bargain bin. Wild Guns Reloaded, now that's apparently out of print but not fetching that high of a price. Atari Flashback Classics was rumored to be in short supply, but that can easily be found, at least in my area. Also, it depends on the publisher. The biggest publisher to collect for is Nicholas. While most publishers release physical Switch titles with just the box and a cartridge, Nicholas includes physical goodies like manuals and stickers, which is really cool, but they only do it for the initial print run, and then after that initial run is gone, it's back to a different cover with no manuals or stickers. So let's say that you keep buying day one. Even if the gamble paid off and you get a rare game for MSRP, you're still paying a ton of money for new releases that will probably drop significantly when the next generation of consoles are released and people start to trade in or sell off their previous gen to pay for the new console. I mean, that's how I got my majority of my Wii collection. I actually got a lot of it very recently when people were trading in to get the Nintendo Switch. While I don't think I have too many rare titles, GameStop did mark down a lot of these games for $20. Even Metroid Prime Trilogy with its steelbook is a third of its price that it was back in 2013. I'm pretty sure that a lot of people assumed that it would continue to climb past $150 at the time since the Wii was at the end of its cycle. But I found mine at GameStop before the Switch came out 2 years ago for $35. Now, I'm not saying never to buy games new. There are plenty of reasons to do so. Online games might be hot during the first couple of months and die off like Friday the 13th, or if you want to avoid spoilers, buying a game day one will help mitigate that risk. But buying them as an investment, I mean, you have to ask yourself, will My Riding Stables Life with Horses be the rarest game on the Nintendo Switch in a couple of years? Well, maybe, but are you really into that game? I mean, the game was $30 new, and now it's down to $19.99. Current generation collecting to me, anyway, is buying games that I want to play right now. And that's becoming less and less simply because I don't have the time to play the games that I already have. I would love to play Red Dead 2, Spider-Man, Horizon Zero Dawn, all great games that I just don't have time to play right now, but I'll still keep an eye out for sales and pick them up because then I won't feel so bad when they sit on my shelf for a while. But I'm curious to hear what you have to say. Do you collect current generation games on the chance that they'll be worth something in the future? Or are you a retro collector only focusing on games that you grew up with? Let me know in the comments below and let's get that conversation going. If you like this video, give it a like, and if you're new here, I talk about game collecting topics, focusing on game prices, and also have a series called the Viewer Voted Review, where I let viewers choose which retro video game I review next. So if that sounds interesting, consider subscribing. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Super Nintendo, and I'll see you next time.